Vivian Vance once filled tens of millions of American homes with laughter through some of television's most iconic black and white images.
Why would you have to explain it? Isn't he used to having tuna around the house every day?
Behind that endless applause, though, lay a psychological prison so brutal it could feel suffocating.
I can't remember the exact year, but it was in the 40s. She had a nervous breakdown in Chicago.
When the studio lights went dark, the dazzling glow of fame instantly turned into a black shadow that swallowed the artist's true identity. Panic attacks in the darkness, years spent gritting her teeth through violence, and the tormenting struggle between her artistic self and the television mask she was forced to wear drove her life into a succession of merciless tragedies. What price had to be paid in exchange for an immortal smile that belonged to an entire generation of viewers? In the summer of 1951, director Mark Daniels and producer Desi Arnaz came to the La Jolla Playhouse in California to watch a stage performance. Vivian Vance's compelling performance quickly caught the attention of the executives behind the television project, I Love Lucy, leading to the decision to officially sign her for the role of Ethel Mertz. Lucille Ball, the show's founding star, initially voiced strong opposition because she believed Vance looked too young, too attractive, and too charismatic alongside the female lead, something that could weaken the contrasting character structure the script was designed to create. In order to keep the role that would become a turning point in her life, the actress accepted an unusually harsh set of appearance requirements behind the camera. The performer had to force herself into clothes one size smaller than usual so that her body would always appear heavier on screen, while also accepting deliberately flawed hair treatments that exposed dark, messy, coarse-looking roots. The complete removal of false eyelashes, figure-enhancing cosmetics, and elegant makeup techniques became a basic condition for transforming her into a dowdy landlady who stood in total contrast to the glamorous beauty of her co-star.
It's a good thing the Kaiser didn't see you in that outfit. He never would have surrendered.
Is that so? Let me tell you
That's it!
Those sacrifices to her appearance quickly produced historic professional results. In 1953, Vivian Vance officially became the first woman to win the prestigious Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a comedy series. The punishing production schedule and the invisible pressure of rising fame placed an enormous burden on the actress's mental health. To maintain her ability to work continuously at the Desilu studio, she had to establish a regular psychotherapy schedule of 5 sessions a week at 5:00 in the morning before stepping into long live filming sessions with her colleagues. Behind the footage that brought roaring laughter to the public was a prolonged atmosphere of tension among the principal cast members. During the very first table read, Vivian Vance whispered an unguarded remark to a colleague. "This old man, who's 22 years older than me, is supposed to play my husband. He's more suited to playing my grandfather." William Frawley unfortunately heard every word, igniting a deep feud and an irreparable fracture between the two throughout the filming process. Frawley repeatedly used harsh insults about her appearance when speaking about his co-star backstage. The tension escalated to the point that the show's writers began using the real-life hostility between the two performers to shape the sharp verbal battles and biting exchanges between the married Mertzes on national television. At the same time, alongside the pressure of the set, the actress's family life was also sliding into a serious crisis. Her marriage to actor Philip Ober, which had lasted since 1941, gradually became a closed-door tragedy, as Ober repeatedly displayed jealousy toward his wife's flourishing career. Episodes of physical and emotional violence occurred frequently behind closed doors, forcing Vivian Vance on numerous occasions to rely on heavy layers of stage makeup to conceal bruises on her body before live filming. After nearly a decade of dedication, her contract with Desilu officially came to an end, freeing the artist from the burdensome costume restrictions and the high-pressure working environment. the closing of the studio doors opened onto a harsher reality, as the shadow of her television character continued to follow her relentlessly through real life. The psychological wounds accumulated through work and family began to evolve into a new series of challenges in her struggle to reclaim her sense of self. The haunting aftermath. When filming on the earlier series came to an end, producer Desi Arnaz immediately moved forward with a new commercial plan, offering a lucrative deal worth hundreds of thousands of dollars for an independent spin-off centered on the Mertz couple. Vivian Vance firmly rejected the project, stating that she would not accept working one-on-one with her former co-star. That decisive refusal enraged William Frawley. The older actor repeatedly encouraged child performers on nearby sets to harass and tease her whenever she appeared within the production complex. Around the same time, her deeply damaging marriage of nearly 2 decades to Philip Ober officially came to an end when the actress filed for divorce in 1959. The legal division of their shared property under California law stripped away much of the money she had painstakingly accumulated during her years of television work. Leaving the courtroom financially depleted, Vivian Vance attempted to rebuild her personal life by marrying publishing editor John Dodds in 1961. The couple decided to leave Los Angeles and move to the Stamford area of Connecticut, creating a quiet living environment intended to separate them completely from the relentless machinery of the entertainment capital. In 1962, Lucille Ball tried to persuade her close friend to return to television in a new project called The Lucy Show. To protect her personal image, Vivian Vance established strict working conditions. The new character had to be named Vivian Bagley. She had to be allowed to wear high-end designer clothing, and she had to be permitted to use elegant makeup. Even so, television audiences across the country continued to see the character primarily as a dependent woman who existed to support the lead character's jokes. The pressure of constant flights between the East Coast and the West Coast in order to maintain the shooting schedule caused the actress's health to deteriorate rapidly. When her nervous exhaustion returned in a serious form, she chose to withdraw from the main cast in 1965 in order to preserve her health. One of the most damaging consequences of spending so many years under the spotlight was the severe professional typecasting imposed by the film industry. Directors and dramatic film producers across Hollywood repeatedly refused to offer Vivian Vance roles with complex psychological depth because they believed her face had become permanently attached to the image of a funny, clumsy woman. In everyday life, that typecasting became an unrelenting obsession as members of the public constantly surrounded her and called her by her former character's name in public places, ranging from restaurants and streets to hospitals. The peak of her resistance came when the actress publicly threatened to cancel the taping of a television talk show if the host deliberately introduced her by the fictional character's name rather than by her real one. On March 3, 1966, William Frawley suddenly suffered a stroke and died on the sidewalk of Hollywood Boulevard. When Vivian Vance received the news by telephone while dining at an upscale restaurant, she suddenly stood up in front of numerous patrons and declared champagne for everyone. The sharp, impulsive act reflected the release of years of pent-up emotion after enduring deep psychological wounds from a workplace relationship marked by hostility backstage. The road ahead opened toward courageous public missions, where painful experiences from the past would be transformed into energy devoted to protecting vulnerable people. A pioneering torch. By the second half of the 1960s, Vivian Vance began shifting her attention toward issues of public welfare, especially mental health care, which still carried heavy social stigma in the United States at the time. During an era when openly discussing psychological treatment or admitting to having experienced severe panic crises could destroy an entertainer's entire career, she chose to face the public directly. The actress repeatedly appeared on nationally broadcast talk programs such as The Merv Griffin Show and The Dick Cavett Show, voluntarily sharing details about her struggle through severe depression and her many years of psychological treatment. Her efforts to break through social barriers quickly made Vivian Vance one of the most visible public figures associated with advocacy for the rights of people living with mental illness in the United States. She officially served as an active commissioner with the Connecticut Department of Mental Health and also worked as an advocacy ambassador for the National Association for Mental Health, or NAMH. The actress did not hesitate to personally visit numerous psychiatric hospitals across the United States, spending hours talking with patients, listening to them, and offering hope for recovery to people with serious conditions who had been isolated from ordinary social life. Alongside her charitable social work, the need for personal financial stability led the artist into a long-term commercial agreement with General Foods. She became the official face of a major advertising campaign for Maxwell House Coffee, over many years portraying Maxine, a quick-moving, warm-hearted diner owner who served customers cup after cup of fragrant coffee. The advertising campaign became a major success on national television and gave the actress a steady source of income, allowing her to support her household with greater security. At the same time, the close connection between her public image and that role once again revealed the double-edged nature of the commercial entertainment market, as television audiences continued to accept her mainly as a simple domestic woman, rather than in layered, psychologically complex characterizations. In 1973, a serious health crisis arrived unexpectedly when medical specialists diagnosed Vivian Vance with advanced breast cancer. The actress was forced to undergo surgery to remove the entire affected breast, followed by prolonged rounds of chemotherapy that brought considerable pain and physical exhaustion. In the face of severe fatigue and the serious side effects of her treatment regimen, she still chose to keep her illness hidden from the media, maintaining an optimistic and carefully composed appearance whenever she appeared in public in order to avoid alarming her fans. By 1974, in an effort to create the best possible conditions for physical recovery and long-term rest, Vivian Vance and her husband decided to move to the coastal town of Belvedere, California. The harsh trials of her final years continued to demand extraordinary strength as she faced the complex medical crises still to come. Her enduring bond with the closest colleagues from her past once again became a powerful, emotional anchor before the final chapter of her life came to a close. The Belvedere Twilight. In early 1977, Vivian Vance's physical condition faced another serious challenge when she suddenly suffered a stroke, leaving partial paralysis on one side of her face and significantly reducing her normal mobility. Even then, the veteran actress showed remarkable determination when an invitation arrived to reunite with her longtime co-star. She agreed to appear in the television special Lucy Calls the President broadcast in 1977, creating the final shared television appearance between two legendary figures of American comedy, and bringing more than 2 decades of professional collaboration to a close before tens of millions of viewers. After the special was filmed, the actress's health deteriorated rapidly as malignant cells from the earlier cancer began spreading into her skeletal system, causing intense pain and draining nearly all of her physical strength. Vivian Vance was forced to remain in an armchair beside the living room window of her home in Belvedere so she could look out toward the bay. In early August 1979, Lucille Ball decided to make the long journey to Northern California to visit her cherished longtime co-star. The private reunion unfolded quietly over several hours, as the two women shared a simple lunch setting, aside fame, glamour, and past disagreements, to exchange tears and a tightly held embrace. Witness Paige Peterson recalled that Lucille Ball left the house so overwhelmed with emotion that she could not speak, while her friend, resting in the armchair, seemed ready to release the physical suffering she had carried and peacefully accept the final law of life and death. On August 17, 1979, Vivian Vance took her final breath at her home at the age of 70. In accordance with the wishes clearly stated in her personal will, the actress's body was cremated, and her ashes were scattered by her family into the waters of the Pacific Ocean. The death of her deeply connected colleague left Lucille Ball in a state of profound grief that lasted for months, and she repeatedly expressed overwhelming pain over the irreplaceable loss of the one person who had been her true artistic partner. In the years after Vivian Vance's death, professional organizations increasingly recognized and formally honored her contributions to the American entertainment industry. In 1991, Vivian Vance's name was officially enshrined on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, with a star honoring her outstanding contributions to television. Later studies of entertainment history, including the biography The Other Side of Ethel Mertz and archival materials from Desilu, described her as a master of comedic timing, while also recognizing her courageous pioneering role in bringing mental health issues into open public discussion in the United States. Her remarkable achievements and the long struggle with illness during the final stage of her life reflected the endurance of a formidable human spirit behind the curtain. The full origins of her inner struggle and her lifelong desire to assert her true artistic identity cannot be fully understood without returning to the turbulent years of her youth. That portrait only becomes complete when the earliest pages of memory are opened again in the American Midwest, where the first wounds quietly began shaping the destiny of a legend. The roots of the fracture. The actress was born on July 26, 1909, in the town of Cherryvale, Kansas, with the full birth name Vivian Roberta Jones. The young Roberta grew up under the extremely strict upbringing of her mother, Euphemia May Reagan, a devoutly religious woman with rigid doctrinal beliefs, who regarded nearly every form of singing, dancing, and theatrical performance as an expression of sin. That restrictive family environment forced the child to hide her passion for performance, creating deep psychological insecurity from the earliest years of her life. Her decision to leave her hometown, move to New Mexico to study acting, and change her surname from Jones to Vance, as she formally entered professional theater, was seen by her family as a serious act of rebellion, planting a lasting sense of guilt in Vivian Vance's subconscious that followed her through many years of adulthood. By the 1930s, the actress began establishing her professional ability in the world of Broadway, with delicate beauty, a well-proportioned figure, and a strong singing voice. Beginning as an understudy for celebrated singer Ethel Mertz in the classic musical Anything Goes, Vivian Vance's performance talent quickly helped her secure glamorous romantic roles on the professional stage. The actress went on to make a strong impression in major theatrical productions such as Hooray for What in 1937, Skylark in 1939, and Let's Face It in 1941, alongside comedian Bob Hope. Her major successes on the New York stage established her as an elegant, dramatic actress of beauty and talent completely separate from the rough-edged supporting characters that would later define her public image. Her private life, though, repeatedly faced emotional fractures arising from psychological wounds that had never been fully resolved. Her first marriage to Joseph Shearer Danick Jr. lasted from 1928 until it ended in 1931, followed by another failed marriage to musician George Koch from 1934 to 1940. Those repeated romantic failures deepened the inner insecurity the actress constantly struggled to hide beneath the radiant appearance of a rising stage star. The crisis reached its peak in 1945, while Vivian Vance was taking part in the national tour of the play The Voice of the Turtle in Chicago. A severe nervous breakdown suddenly struck, sending her into a state of extreme panic, leaving her with agoraphobia and completely unable to step outside her hotel room. The actress lay motionless in the room, drenched in cold sweat, powerless against the urgent knocking of stage management at the door. The medical crisis forced her to undergo long-term intensive psychological treatment, combined with high-dose vitamin B1 injections to help stabilize her nervous system while she fought day by day to overcome dangerous suicidal impulses. Her recovery from the mental health crisis of 1945 left an invisible wound in the artist's inner life, forcing her to learn how to live with deep internal fears for the remainder of her years. As the story of Vivian Vance comes to a close, we recognize that behind some of the most enduring laughter ever captured on screen can lie the silent sacrifice of an entire lifetime. The shadow of Ethel Mertz may have imprisoned her artistic identity, but her courage in moving through psychological darkness and illness became the brightest legacy Vivian left behind. Which milestone in this journey, filled with both remarkable strength and overwhelming tears, left the deepest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this video gave you a meaningful and valuable perspective, do not forget to like and share it so the story can reach more people. And subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next compelling stories from behind the scenes of history. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye, and we look forward to seeing you again in future videos.